All right, second game. It's 1-0 for Fabian. Both playing a somewhat control shell combo Hades deck. So let's see who's winning this game. Is there a lot of advantage being on the play in this matchup?
I think not. They don't have dangerous one or two drops, or two dangerous one or two drops. They have their counter spells start at two usually, but there only is a huge discrepancy between starting and not starting if your opponent is truly aggressive, so he can put down a one drop, you need to counter it, or your counters come online and he can play the two drop for free until you hit 2 mana. So I don't think it's a problem here.
We see another interesting hands. Luca probably very happy with his hand, having a lot of mana access, some cheap selection counterspell on creatures, which is a good combination. Fabian with a little bit more awkward of a hand, but it is that was really interesting. It is a decision you would not make with having just a regular mulligan. You have 3 lands, a Maze of Ith, you have a Cryptic Command, and a Miscalculation, which you can use as a counterspell basically early enough to deal with it. So he has a lot of mana and stuff to do with it, but he still decides to mulligan. That's really interesting.
Yeah, you are much more prone to mulligan in Highlander if your hand doesn't do enough. In a normal match, if your hand does work a little bit, you wouldn't mulligan it because 6 cards is just such a disadvantage. But in Highlander, the free mulligan gives you incentive to actually get a working hand.
What are the cards you're looking for if you're Fabian?
It's really hard to say. I would probably go for something like Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon because my opponent is playing a lot of non-basics, and he needs some counter spells. Not too many because Luca also plays a lot of controlish cards with counters and spot removal, so there is not too much to be careful of. But this match is sort of a dance, how the hands work out against each other. Oh, yeah.
Here we see Fabian actually sees the Blood Moon in his opener and a nice cheap removal in Arc Trail, and that's a key. Luca here with the first turn partner, always a nice start, and he keeps the 3 cards, including the Eldrazi Displacer we talked about, which he can actually use because of Ash Barrens. And the Palace Jailer, which is also a very neat, new, interesting card from the Commander sets. Probably a lot of people know it only from the Death and Taxes, because it's quite present there. But how do you think about it in the Highlander?
In a deck like Lucas, where he has creatures and removal, it's a damn strong card because using Monarch is it doesn't happen that often if you can keep control with cheap removal. Yeah. And you obviously aid their best creature, and even if they remove the jailer, the creature is still gone. You draw extra cards with the emblem, with the Monarch, whatever it is. It's an emblem, I think.
It's a Monarch thing, yeah. You cannot interact with it. But doesn't the creature come back?
It comes back if you stop being the Monarch. So you need to get hit by combat damage.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I thought this would just be a blink effect, like a Oblivion Ring effect. But actually, if you don't lose the Monarch, then you don't lose the creature. And it's sometimes really difficult. That also explains, for example, the Chain of Vapor in Luca's hand, because it's a cheap thing that prevents your opponent from not being the Monarch.
Yeah, you can just bounce their attacker, so combat damage, and again, with the Monarch thing, you keep drawing cards.
Oh, and then you can also see the interaction between Palace Jailer and Eldrazi Displacer, because when you blink the Palace Jailer, the creature doesn't go away. You just keep eating more creatures.
Exactly. And this way you can easily keep being the monarch because there are no damn creatures.
Wow, that is so strong. And now, is there an incentive to just play it on an empty board?
The jailer.
Must be, right? Because once you become the monarch on an empty board, you don't care that you don't kill a creature with it. You just remain the monarch for the rest of the game. Just draw any cards. And what is your opponent reasonably going to do? We know that there's a Stormbreath deck that could be a good card, but you expect your opponent to have like slower cards, removal, counter spells, planeswalkers maybe. Interesting stuff. I think I would go for it. It seems appealing enough. You also see, which is interesting, he chose to use the Ash Barrens to fetch for an island, which is very good against the various non-basic hate effects. But he already played a Blood Moon, and now he doesn't have a way to remove to use the Displacer. And he goes for the Jailer here. I like it. Drawing some cards.
Yes. It puts Fabian under a certain amount of pressure.
And we have a nice, neat, customized Monarch token.
Well-prepared tournament organizers.
And yeah, apparently Fabian did not have any recent experience in becoming a monarch. So drawing a card.
See if he can become it. And
yeah.
Luca gives his crown to Fabian at one point.
It's That's
good.
That would be so good if he can actually attack, because then he would become the monarch right away. But the Palace Jailer, of course, preventing it. It's such a game warping mechanic. Right now, the control matchup is basically thrown overboard. It doesn't really matter if you can sustain the whole thing. Once you're not the monarch, you have to become the monarch.
Yes, it changes the objective of the game. Because every turn every turn you didn't manage to take the crown from your opponent.
Yeah.
He just pulls away in card advantage.
It becomes harder and harder then to become monarch.
Exactly.
It's like in real life. Okay, so we see Pyromancer here as an attempt to put some creatures on the battlefield, killing the Palace Jailers, getting a token. Okay, so we got up to 2 creatures, possibly even 3 on the next turn. And you got to imagine Stormbreath Dragon is a nice way to become a monarch. It's like, I'm the king now, and then it comes a huge dragon. It's like, no. All right, Elemental it is. So there must be something happening now for Luca, because that was quite potent. Something pretty amazing. But Luca is going to draw 2 cards, and well, you gotta say that's pretty amazing. Mensa is it?
It deals with the board pretty well.
Yeah, it will prevent the Stormbreath Dragon from hitting. It actually will not prevent the Monarch being stolen, because there's 3 creatures. But you can play
the Chain of Vapor.
Yeah, you can
still drop a land. So you can stay Monarch for 1 more turn, but then the dragon is still threatening to steal his golden crown.
Yeah, but until then you draw 2 more cards, and that's a neat.
Maybe there's an answer among those cards. Yes.
Just important to Chain of Vapor has a weird interaction if you have things on the battlefield, so you probably use that first, and you cannot bounce the Monarch, right? Because it's not a permanent.
It's not another game object, yes.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. He wants to use it now, so Fabian cannot make more tokens. That's smart. I guess if he's expecting a lot of spells, that makes the Chain of Vapor a bit less good. Because now
doesn't it open him up for a bad turn where he has to bounce the attacking creature? Oh no, of course he can block first.
Yeah, you can block first and then be safe. There's a repeal. Some interesting options. You can go for Chandra here. Yeah, that's what he does. Exactly. Chandra has the advantage of staying on the battlefield. Although I would have liked Stormbreath Dragon. There's not many cards that could deal with it. I don't think you can expect. Maybe he's afraid that the Venser will take the crown back, and then he wants to make something reliable. He could also play Chandra and then play Rebel Master and then attack with 2/2. Actually, like that. That is good.
Yes, he definitely gets the crown that way. But it will lose Chandra next turn to the Lightning Bolt.
So here, Chain of Reaper showing off with bouncing 2 cards.
Oh, right. He can decide to do it if he targets his own creature.
Yeah, exactly. And then he can...
Oh, I totally overlooked that. That was pretty neat.
So the only way he could have become a Monarch would have used the Rebel Master and then attack with 2. And then he can block and bounce. It's so... Being Monarch or becoming Monarch is hard.
Takes a lot of work to backstab the king.
Yeah, and it seems like the king doesn't want, like, tries everything to not lose the crown. This is so flavorful. I love it. So Daze is pretty absurd if it gets to hit the Stormbreath Dragon.
Yes, it would be a really bad beat for Fabian, who skipped it last turn for this play.
Chain Lightning hits the Chandra, and there's the Displacer. And end of turn, I would like to draw a card. Yep. Cool. All right.
He drew 4 cards up to this point.
4
cards.
I think 3.
It's like basically he played an Ancestral Recall already.
On a stick, yeah, on a creature, and they could have done more. And of course, your opponent can somehow deal with it, but as we see, it's really hard.
Now he found the extra land and the Daze is blanked.
So that was a good play.
Yeah, he has no idea how important it really was to draw that mountain.
So attack. Here you go. Not that you keep it for long, but enjoy it while you can.
And I guess the Regency has shifted to another house.
Yeah. Some would say the crown might not be long in that house.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a Game of Thrones match here.
Yeah, they're all fighting for this one crown, for the throne.
Oh, your king is dead. Long live the king.
Yes. Well, there's always one person ready to be the king in this match.
All right, Venser is actually also pretty good now. Yeah, attack, get the crown back. The Enlightened Tutor is an interesting card because you wouldn't expect there to be so many compelling artifacts or enchantments. They're definitely artifacts, I think, but the only enchantment I can think of are like the combo part, maybe some actually it seems the only things that he can target with it is Engineered Explosives and Splinter Twin.
That's a pretty big concession to the combo finish, I think. It's not that much of a toolbox. It's more like a toolbox in this case.
I mean, to be honest, Engineered Explosive is such an important card in most of the matchups. So
yeah. It's like sometimes you only need a hammer and a screwdriver, and he has them, and he can find them. So your toolbox is already sufficiently filled with 2 items.
Yeah, it's your all-purpose Swiss knife.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, and that's also a thing you probably wouldn't consider to just play this. You say, okay, I have 2 cards. They're very good in different scenarios, but they're so important. I just want to have 2 copies, even considering that that I'm losing a card on that.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort for those cards.
So, surprisingly enough, Luca remained the monarch, and it's like a game of civilization here. Attack, kill, take my city, take it back. And you can't forget, since the monarch is bound to damage, which is actually pretty neat, there is a progress in the game. Because
exactly.
You have to do damage to your opponent.
Just by taking back the crown 2 times, Fabian did 8 damage to Luca.
Unfortunately, Luca's hand is strong. We also see Fabian's hand really strong, and we know, and this could be one of the major turning points we saw from an earlier mulligan, that Fabian has a bonfire in his deck.
Yeah, finding that would be brutal.
He has a mystical tutor. He can look for it, put it on top, build your own miracle, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And then kill all the creatures. We know that Luca doesn't have any defense mechanism right now.
Yes, and on the board, Luca cannot deal with this dragon. His only cards are white. All his cards are white that could do anything.
Ooh, so is that a game that Fabian steals again? There's also a lot of threat on Luca's side. Right now there's 9 damage with the activated land, the Wandering Femoral. So Fabian would go down to 7, and that's pretty close to dying. You see Luca gaining life and playing the he wanted to play the Elemental to pump the Displacer, but the Displacer is not white.
Yeah, it's devoid. That's right.
All right, so he decided, rather not, take the crown and Sigo. Ooh, does Fabian go for the bonfire? If it's actually really important that Lucas saw this, because if he would have played it, it would have made no difference, but Fabian would have definitely gone for the bonfire. And now...
With the Confluence, is Fabian dead next turn?
Could be, yeah, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, we see Fabian thinking here in his upkeep. Do I go for it? My opponent has 3 mana open. He drew so many cards. Is it possible that he cannot deal with it? He decides to draw the card. All right. Yeah, he has to attack. Attacking is mandatory. He can also decide to... Wouldn't activating Stormburst Dragon be lethal? How much bigger does it get?
I think it deals damage in the for the hand size, and it gets bigger by 1 or something. Let's just check that.
1 second. With our primary...
No, it gets bigger by 3, so it would be 7 damage. It would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It would be 12 extra damage. No, bullshit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it wouldn't be lethal. It would be 8 extra damage.
So it would be 1 off?
Yes.
Brutal. So here's the Elemental.
He could bounce. Oh no, it doesn't. He cannot bounce and activate in the same turn because the activation costs so much mana.
Yeah, if he he could also that maybe could have been an interesting play, to use the repeal. You play the Mystical Tutor to put the bonfire on top. Then in your opponent's turn, you repeal the Elemental, and then you can cast Bonfire for free. That could have been a very neat swing, but then again, you have to rely that your opponent doesn't have a counterspell, so that's brutal.
The risk he's not willing to take, it seems.
Yeah. And he has a reasonable defense. It's not like anything can happen to it, but, well, we know that probably something is going to happen. Luca draws the card and a Darker Waste. That's going to put the Eldrazi Displacer on Rampage mode. With the Venta, very neat interaction. Is he going for it? You see a Darker Waste. Oh, nice 7th edition foil Darker Waste. Beautiful. John Avon, one of my first foil cards ever.
You have to go for the style points here.
Yeah. You have to say, like from a style point of view, Luca with his APAC basics, some neat foils, that's a big advantage. But also Fabian going for the classic, just black bordered basic lands, no foils. It's a bit of a show off here between two. Is he going to it? Is he going for the fire conclusion? Dealing 1 to everything, dealing 4 to my opponent. That would be default. If your opponent doesn't have a spell. No, even a spell doesn't help because he doesn't get a token.
Yeah, token just dies.
Yeah, he goes for it.
You would have to get the token after. Oh no, you can't. The Magus is dead.
Yeah, you have to do something now to get the token, but after that, the Pyromancer just dies. And that's probably it. Ah, so close. So exciting. Lucas squeezes out the win. Still having a lot of cards in hand, but the Monarch in the end just, pushed it through. Attack for 5. Good game. And we see, another one. Exciting 3 games. It's 1-1 here in the semifinals. And let's see who wins in the next video.